friends, it's Suzanne with Scrapping the Details, and today I'm going to share with you my Starbucks gift card holder. These were a big hit at my holiday boutique, so they are now definitely part of my signature items that I will be featuring this year. So those of you that are involved in holiday boutiques or craft fairs, as some of you may call them, you know you're probably not the only paper crafter there participating. There's probably going to be 2 or 3 more. Of course, everyone has a different style, but you want to pick out items that you have that become your signature items that people will recognize you, want to come back to your booth because they bought them from you before. So my Starbucks gift card holders were a big hit. They were my top seller, and I do want to thank my friend Wendy for giving me the idea. She shared with me this idea because she knew I was trying to come up with some different ways. So I made it my own and decided I'm going to share them with you today, but we're going to make some for Mother's Day. So if you have a mom that loves Starbucks, then this is going to be a great and cute way to give them that gift card. You can also, use the same idea for birthdays, for a thank you, for a grad gift, or just because. So today, what I'm going to share with you is not how I would create them for my holiday boutiques. I'm going to do those a little bit differently. So as we get closer to the season, I'll share that with you. But today I'm stepping it up a notch, going to add a few details to them to make them even more special. So let me share with you what you'll need to get started. Now to create these Mother's Day Starbucks gift card holders, you will need craft paper. You will need your color palette of choice. Here I just chose some random papers from different collections from Pebbles. Because Mother's Day is in spring, I wanted a bright and floral palette. So here, this one here is from Family Ties. It's just a beautiful plain yellow gingham. Here's a beautiful floral here, and this is from the Me and You collection. And I wanted to use blue somehow on these gift card holders. So found this one here, and this one, I don't think, no, it is. It is from Pebbles as well, and it's the Sunny Side Up collection. Here's another pattern from the Sunny Side. And then a beautiful hot pink polka dot that is also from Sunny Side. So this is the color palette that I chose. So you'll need some pattern paper. You'll need some tags. So here I went ahead and chose these 2 colors. They're from Hobby Lobby. They're part of their Petals and Blooms collection. There is a lighter blue, but for now, these are the 2 I think I will use. You'll need a pencil. You'll need a bone folder and a score pal or scoring board. You'll need the super tape. I call it the red tape, and it needs to be a 1/4 inch. You'll need some chocolate. You'll need a circle die, and this one here is from Sizzix, and it's part of their circle collection, and I will list that in the description box, but this is a 2 1/4 inch. You'll need a floral die, and I'll list the exact name below, but it cuts 3 pieces here, and it just makes a gorgeous bloom, so I'll share that with you. You'll need these adorable little coffee cups, and again, in the description box, I'll show you exactly where you can purchase them. They are inexpensive. These come in a set of 50, and these come packaged for 100. So if you're not doing a holiday boutique, but maybe with some friends, you can split the cost. They came really quickly, and I think the total for 100 cups and 100 lids was like $14, and I blew out of these last year, and I can't wait to make them again. And you'll need an embossing folder here. I'm using a dots pattern, and it is by Sizzix, and I'll list the set from which it comes from. You'll need a sentiment that says Happy Mother's Day, and for some reason I did not have one in my stash, so I have not been making my mom a handmade card. So I'm going to change that this year. But this one here is from Hero Arts. It has different sentiments on here, so I'll get a lot of use out of this. And this is what I'll need here. And then the main item that you will need to make a quick and easy Starbucks gift card holder is a die. Now there are a lot of tutorials on Pinterest that you can create your own, but why? If there's a die, it's gonna make your job so much faster. So excited to have found this, or actually my friend Wendy, who was kind to share it with me. And here it is. So mine has definitely been well loved, and I bought this from Amazon, and it's called, I believe, the Double Tote. It has a few more banner dies, but the items that I'm going to use today are these two here, because they create the adorable holder that's going to hold our cups. So the last time I checked, there were only 6 left on Amazon, and again, I'll list that directly in the description box for you, because it's going to make your life so much easier, but just a cute way to give someone that Starbucks gift card. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Before we get started, I did change my design, so we're going to change gears a little bit, and there are additional supplies that you will need to complete this project. You're going to need some straws, and I just picked up these paper straws at Michael's. They were like $9.99 for a package of 100, and I used my 50% off coupon. You're going to need some white twine. You'll need some pink brads. You'll also need a die, and this one here, I'll see if it's still available through Sizzix, but it's their, let's see, what's it called? It's called their artist trading card. Now you could cut the cardstock yourself to this size, but it just makes it easier. So I'll link it if I can still find it on their website. So you'll need some pink cardstock, your embossing buddy, your Versamark pad, and of course some embossing powder. I love this one from American Crafts, and it's simply white, and it's just a great powder to use. Okay, think that's it. Let me go ahead and grab the Big Shot, and we'll start cutting. We're gonna go ahead and begin to cut out our treat carrier. Now, I recommend using the extended version of the magnetic platform, just because of the length of this die. It just makes it so much easier, and you get a good cut. If you don't have it, it'll still work with a shorter platform, but just know that you're going to probably have to do some cutting on the ends. So let's go ahead and run that part through. We're just going to need one of the side of the treat carrier. And you'll be left with this, and it's already perforated for you, so it's just very easy to just fold along those lines. So sorry for the gold paint. I made my first set of paper flowers, and it's on my Instagram if you want to check it out, so I couldn't get some of it off. Okay, so there's that. And here's another sheet, and we're going to go ahead and cut the back of the treat carrier. Okay, so here it is, and again, it perforates right there. So that is done. So we have these two pieces. So while I'm here, I'm going to go ahead and die cut using my artist trading card. I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. Also, we are going to use this larger oval from the treat carrier dies. We will need that. I decided to go ahead and use that. So let's go ahead and die cut that. And then next, I'm going to take some pink cardstock and die cut these two flowers. So we'll need the smaller 2 of the 3 that's on this die. So I'll go ahead and cut that out, and then that will be ready to assemble our treat carrier. Assemble our little treat carrier. So what we're going to do is, utilizing the red tape, we're going to go ahead and add some tape right along the tabs. The tape that I'm using here is very thin, so I would not recommend using it. I just can't seem to find the one that I was showing earlier. It's around here somewhere, but we're going to go ahead and use what we have. you should have something that looks just like this. It has a tape all along the edges. And now I'm gonna go ahead and I always like to start with the center one when I start assembling the die. So I'm gonna go ahead and take this adhesive off. And I'm gonna line it up right in the center there. And then I'm gonna go ahead and remove the adhesive on all the tabs. Okay, so now you're just gonna bring this side up, line it up against the edge, and do the same thing here. Line that up, and you're gonna do the same thing to the opposite side. It's easier if I can, there we go. Wait, no, this isn't straight yet. Sorry about that. Let me just make sure I want it right there, flush. Okay, here we go. Okay, so you should have your little treat carrier that looks like this, and it's ready to go. Now, you could just add your little coffee cup just like that, and it'll look adorable. However, we're gonna do one other step just to give it some height so it stands up in that little carrier. So here you can see how it would look like without any height. So I'm gonna show you how to create that with just a scoreboard and some cardstock. To create the treat carrier little insert, you're gonna need a piece of cardstock that measures 4.5 by 4 5/8. And now we're gonna go ahead and score it at the 1 inch line. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that on all 4 corners, just like that. And you're gonna be left with something just like this. And actually, I'm not gonna do that yet because now I'm gonna die cut an opening here with the circle from that circle set from Sizzix. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that so there's an opening so the cup will sit nicely inside. So let me go ahead and die cut that. So this is what that circle die looked like that I used to create that opening. So we're done with that. Now with my scissors, I'm gonna go ahead and cut against those score lines on the opposite sides here. And then now I'll just go ahead and fold along the score lines so it'll fit nicely in the treat carrier. And then with my tape runner, I'm going to add adhesive to the 4 little tabs so I can assemble the box. So let's go ahead and do that there. Do that there. Okay. And then it's going to look just like this. And then we're going to insert this in our treat carrier. Now we can go ahead and tuck this inside our little treat carrier. And push that down. And then now your little coffee cup is going to have some height. So it just looks that much more adorable when you hand it to that person. Okay, so that is done, and now I'm gonna go ahead and let's go ahead and cover our coffee cup, and let me show you how easy that is. Now you will need a pencil for this, obviously the pattern paper that you want to cover your coffee cup with, and you'll need to cut apart one of the little cups just because it's going to serve as your guide to wrap the paper around the cup. There's not a die for this yet, or at least not one that I know about. I'm sure you can, scan this in and turn this into an SVG file, but I haven't learned to do that yet, but I will this coming season. So for now, I'm just doing it the old-fashioned way. I'm gonna place this down on my paper on the opposite side of what the pattern, I want this to be on the outside. So I'm gonna turn my paper over and go ahead and trace it here. And we're just gonna go ahead and trace it. And I like to go just a little bit off to the side. I like to make it a little bit bigger. just so you have some extra room. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and cut along my traced image here. Okay, so you have now this pattern paper cut out. You're going to line up the edge on the seam of the cup and just add some adhesive and wrap it around. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now. Now you do want to use a very strong adhesive because then, you know, the paper will pop up. So what I found to work for me is this red tape. It's just very durable. Now you have your paper cup already covered with your pattern paper. I do like to add a little bit of some of this little crinkle. I picked this up at Michael's a while back, and they have different colors. I just like to tuck in a few strands there, and then I'm going to go ahead and add my chocolate. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and add 5, and you could add Hershey Kisses, you could add coffee candies, just whatever you would like. And I'm going to go ahead and close the lid there, and let's see, and then I'm going to go ahead and pick a straw. And you can cut these in half. And so I just cut mine in half. You know, one I'll use for the other cup. And then I just tuck this inside the little cup, just for added detail. And then we can tuck this inside our carrier. And it's almost complete. So the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my heart punch, and I'm going to grab some pattern paper and just add a heart to the top of the cup. I'm going to pick this pattern here. And let's see, here's my pop dot. I used a heart on my other coffee cups that I made just because I thought it was so cute. It's just a really fun die to use on the cup. Okay, so now we are ready to stamp our image, and for that I'm going to need these items here. So let's move that out of the way. We're done with that. Let me go ahead and grab just some white piece of paper. Okay. I'm going to add my Versamark to the back of my stamp. And using my buddy, get some of that on top of my label. Go ahead and stamp Happy Mother's Day right on top. And I'm going to use this white embossing powder. And emboss it with the heating gun. Okay, so that's done. Let's go ahead and just put this back into our little container. And then with more pop dots, I'm going to go ahead and just adhere this to the front of our tweet carrier. These are my favorite pop dots. I love them. I hope they never are discontinued, because I don't know what I would do. Okay, so that's just it, just like that. And we're almost done. Now we're going to go ahead and create our tag. So for that, we are going to need, we're going to need 2 of the balloons from that die, and then a circle that is 1 3/4. And I went ahead and ran it through the embossing folder which is the Dots by Sizzix. So that's already done. So I'm gonna go ahead and curl my flowers a little bit and grab the tag that I want, and I'm gonna use the navy one. Okay, so you're going to, I'm gonna grab a hole punch. The other two flowers do have a hole that's already there in place. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. And then I'm gonna grab a brad and I'm going to go ahead and adhere all of these layers together. So I'm gonna start off with the smaller bloom, the layered vellum circle, and then my last bloom there. And then I'm going to go ahead and just pull these back, and it's going to sit onto our tag. And I'm going to turn to my pop dots and just add 2 to the back. Okay, now you could take this a step further and add some washi tape along the bottom or some pattern paper, but I'm just going to go ahead and stop it there. I'm now going to grab my twine and we're going to go ahead and adhere it to our treat carrier. Run this through the tag. And then I think, what did I do? Oh yes, I tied this around my straw. And just tied it into a bow. Just like that. And then we'll just cut the ends. Whoops. Let's go back. Okay, actually I like that better, so kind of glad it worked. Okay. So this is what you'll be left with. Super cute, huh? I love this. So now the last thing you want to do is include, obviously, our Starbucks gift card, because that's what makes this so special. And so what I like to do is I like to use a repositional glue dot onto here, and it'll just stay just like that. Now you could just tuck this just like that and it'll stay. It's not going to go anywhere. However, I just think the extra layer of cardstock just kind of finishes this project. And just like that, it just adds a nice layer to the treat carrier. Okay, now the last thing that we're going to do is we're going to add a belly band. For the belly band, you will need some cardstock that is 1 inch by 6 inches. So on this one, I think I'm going to use this one here. So this is all I do. I just wrap it around the back of the treat carrier, fold back my edges, just like that, to kind of get my own little score lines, just like that. You kind of know where it's going to fit. And then I just grab my tape runner, add some adhesive right there, but a couple strips, and then adhere these together. And that's going to create your belly band. And again, this is just an additional layer. You do not have to do it. I just think it finishes off the project, and it just kind of wraps that little gift card in place. There you have it. It's completed. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. Let me go ahead and just show you a few of the others that I made. Same design. I kept them all the same. Here's one that I obviously duplicated. And then here's another. Just that pretty floral pattern. And then I used, different color tag. And then here's one more. I just love the navy polka dots. It was just really cute. Okay, there you have it. I hope that you've enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. I hope that you have fun making these for your mom, maybe for a friend or a neighbor. And I hope that you find some time to be creative this weekend. Thank you for watching.